Ignition sequence start. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Liftoff. We have a liftoff.
Hey everybody, this is the Digital Asset Investor, and it looks like we are starting to see green. We've been having pullbacks for the last 3 or so weeks, and now all of a sudden we're seeing a rebound. Bitcoin's heading for 96, XRP's is back up to 213. Things are on the move. Wanted to show you this clip. This is Perry Ann Boring. Now, you got to understand, she has been in the room with all these, with the Trump administration and all these people that are in the process of taking power back for the good guys. Listen to what she says here.
But change the way that we share data and things of value over the internet.
You talk about regulatory clarity, one of those being, defining what the SEC is going to be overseeing versus the CFTC. But what else are you thinking about in terms of more regulatory clarity for the crypto industry that we could see in the years ahead? Is it about clarifying or adding more regulations that would be pro-crypto?
Well, clarity is one of the biggest issues. Having these confusing and conflicting statements and speeches and stances from the SEC and the CFTC has just completely stifled innovation here in the United States. So that's really step one. But there's so much more that can be done to incentivize the development of this advanced technology here on U.S. soil. Everything from being able to have a registration process to get more regulated products to market. That all needs to be built at both agencies. Yeah. And then there's other agencies that come into play. IRS is a big one. Tax policy has a huge impact on adoption. So getting better and clearer tax policy from the IRS is also a big priority of the incoming Trump administration, is something that can encourage the adoption of.
Okay. So you can see like what we've been through and where we're going, but I think it's important to remind everybody what Gary Gensler and his government friends were trying to do. Here's the reminder. This is Gary Gensler when he was teaching at MIT. I believe he was sent to MIT to create fake crypto credentials so that they could help get him in at the SEC.
And by the way, just replacing one central monopolist with another central monopolist, a lot of commercial banks aren't terribly excited about that. Maybe you're going to have to give some ownership. Maybe you'll have to give 50% of your ownership to the 20 banks that are now, part of this. I mean, there are other ways to build incentive systems. Maybe you put a native token in there and you give them the native token. So there may be other incentive ways to beat the current monopolist. But I, having been around commercial banks for a long time, they really are looking for ways to replace their aggregators in their back office, whether it's clearing, settlement, exchanges, credit agencies. But they are deeply understanding, because they are pretty ambitious and very good at making money as well. They deeply understand that every idea that's pitched to them is somebody who currently is small but wants to get big and gain market power. So they're also always thinking about how to ensure that there's a check to slow down your startup from gaining.
A check like Gary Gensler that we can install at the SEC.
Market power 5, 10, and 15 years from now. They don't want you to be the next clearinghouse like...
and he's completely in line with that because he's a government toady.
Chicago Mercantile Exchange or Intercontinental Exchange. They don't want you...
We've had people running our government who want to stifle startups. Imagine that. That's how this country became great, is by people building companies that became mammoths.
Be the next central
These
node
people are pure evil.
Market power. So you might share some of that with them, or you might find an incentive system.
Yeah, and if you don't, we might file a lawsuit against you at the SEC. How about that? Now, I think it's important as we go forward to remind everybody that there's only 3 people in crypto who've been able to, of any consequences, who've been able to successfully come in and talk to the SEC under Gary Gensler and Jay Clayton. I think that it's just important that these 3 be looked at as it is that we do pro-crypto regulation. I think you have to go and look at what Gary Gensler and Jay Clayton were up to behind the scenes with these 3 companies. That would be Prometheum, Consensus, and FTX, Sam Bankman-Fried. Let's make sure you see this picture in full because it tells the story. And remember, his parents, his father and his mother, were deeply involved in FTX, and nobody touched them. Nobody did a thing to them. They were huge Democrat donors as well. And FTX was as well. But if you look here, Joseph Lubin was able to get the Bill Hinman Ethereum free pass speech, ETHgate. They've never gone after Ethereum for the ICO or tried to find out who the disguised whales that bought in the ICO are, that he helped disguise. Aaron Kaplan from Prometheum was able to get a first-of-its-kind special broker-dealer license for digital assets, while nobody else was able to do anything. SBF was able to have planning sessions, and we've never seen the planning sessions or what happened, what they talked about. It's been hidden by Gary Gensler, just like the Hinman IG report has been hidden by Gary Gensler. He was having planning sessions with the SEC, CFTC, White House, Congress. And don't forget, ETHgate is not just the SEC. They were meeting, Lubin and them were meeting with the CFTC as well. SBF, he was having planning sessions, and it was all before the collapse. Where there's smoke, there's fire, dig here. This needs to be looked at in order to go forward in digital assets to see what they were up to. My 2025 prediction, Gary leaves, the XRP price finally gets to perform on a level playing field free of government regulatory capture and picking winners and losers for their Wall Street masters. This is an interesting thing that hasn't been really highlighted much that I wanted to show to you. XRP trading volume is again topping the charts in South Korea's biggest exchanges, overtaking Bitcoin in a sign of flurried interest that often precedes price volatility. Here's why this is interesting. It's 2 reasons. The first reason is back in January 2018 when XRP hit its all-time high. Do you know what happened? Well, if you were there, you might remember the CoinMarketCap, who was owned by different people than own it now. CoinMarketCap, overnight, while everybody was sleeping, while XRP's price had been surging, they took out the factoring of South Korean prices, and so it reflected a lower price. The next morning, everybody woke up and saw that lower price, and they thought that XRP's prices had collapsed. There was no warning given by CoinMarketCap. They just did it. The XRP price never recovered from that. Now, what's happened recently? Because this is what people haven't even remembered. Now, I'm not saying that there was anything nefarious that went on here. As I sit here, I still do not know why in South Korea on December 3rd sent the military forces in the National Assembly building in Seoul following a declaration of martial law by President Yoon. I still don't know why this happened, but many may not remember or know. Do you know what else happened because of that? XRP, look at XRP in the last month. It hit its high price on December the 3rd. What caused the price to come down was that Korean situation. That was the top. And we're looking at the 1 month, but if you look at the year, you'll see it even more clearly. Right there, December 2nd, and then the South Korean thing happens, the martial law, and from there we go down, okay? And it's not just my imagination, there were articles written on it. Did South Korea's martial law stop the XRP rally? Here's what's driving the price. So I find that extremely interesting that it went down like that. Now, let's watch this. As my father, who is the official father of the Digital Asset Investor channel, said several times to me in the last few years, nothing happens in finance without JP Morgan and Goldman Sachs. And I believe that at least one of them have been behind a lot of the regulatory capture that we've seen in the last few years.
Could we see truly a lot of major multinationals putting Bitcoin on their balance sheet and that kind of thing?
I think it's conceivable, yes. And I think as we've started to see, over the last year and a half, a lot more clarity, probably outside of the US, I think there's obviously been a big spike in the valuations across the whole crypto suite.
Oh, look, CNBC did something they never do. They put XRP over Solana. The Bitcoin, Ethereum, Solana, Sui pump gang somehow allowed them for one segment to put XRP where it rightfully belongs, ahead of Solana.
We've seen since the US presidential elections that obviously is driven by what we expect will be probably a more favorable regulatory backdrop, and that gives confidence to kind of the institutions more broadly.
Okay, then I want to show this. We are the rebels of finance, and they do not like it.
In the last few months since the election, it has surged by 48%. A snapshot there that people think the Trump administration is going to be more pro-crypto, not just in the Biden administration, but than the first Trump administration. It's up 140% this year, but that chart was important to show because it's up many multiples in the last few years, and the people that have made a fortune in it have made enormous fortunes from very little numbers. So doing a quick extra point just say about that is it's not like it's created equality, Bitcoin, clearly, but there's a difference to when we see house prices surge or stock markets surge, where the people that get more wealthy tend to be the CEOs of this world, the establishment figures who are already quite wealthy. What Bitcoin has done, it has made extraordinarily wealthy individuals out of sort of disruptors and people from different walks of life. And in that sense, you wouldn't say it's good, it's not creating equality per se, but it's less bad than a surge in the wealth of people who are already wealthy.
All right, and finally, let's finish here before we go in DAIXRP.com. This is Yoshitaka Katal from SBI Holdings, who owns like 10+% of Ripple. Look at what he said. This is from a while back, but it's still interesting.
Court
decision will be made in a few weeks. Some things are lost in translation. Ripple's XRP is declared a coin. I think it will be very expensive since we are the largest external shareholder. If we sell it, it will be realized through capital gains. But even if we don't sell it, it will be a considerable investment. I think that as soon as the conclusion is positive, so you see where that's going. Okay, look, it's that time of year. It's New Year's Eve. And what do you do on New Year's Eve? Everybody gives their 2025 price predictions. We're going to talk about nothing but 2025 predictions or imminent predictions in DAIXRP.com. I'm the digital asset investor. I'm not an investment advisor. This is for entertainment purposes only. Please subscribe, hit the like button, tell your friends and family. Here come the predictions. Here we go.